Howdy, howdy. Welcome on in to the pre-show. Before the free show, where we turn the camera to nerd. Look at the nerd.
I don't, see, here's the thing.
Nerd.
You want me to feel bad about looking good. And it's just not going to happen.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
Here's the worst part of this. I'll be honest, the worst part of this.
Mm-hmm.
The worst part of this is I'm wearing dress shoes. And you know I never wear dress shoes.
I know.
That was your, and that was fair because I asked you. For those who don't, I guess we should probably reset as to why I'm dressed up like this. Couple weeks ago, Mizzou played North Texas, and I think it's fair to say neither of us wanted to bet on our own team.
No, absolutely not. This was like
wager,
the garbage bowl.
This was a wager against our own best interest.
Yeah, this was literally for y'all's enjoyment. Like, we were
Right.
doing it for the greater good here.
Yeah, we're doing this for content. And so we went on the spread, and Mizzou was a 19-point favorite. And Mizzou did win, but they won by 13. And my wife does not understand the betting world. So she was like, hey, good thing you don't have to, like, the game ended. She's like, hey, at least Ashley has to wear a ball gown, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, honey, that's not how that works.
That's not how this works.
She's like, that's dumb. I'm like, yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
But anyway, but then, so I asked you, it was, you were going to wear a ball gown or a prom dress or some sort, I don't know, however you put it.
I had a like full length
Dress
ball gown.
you were going to wear. And if I lost, I was going to wear a tuxedo. Mizzou only wins by 13, so I lose the bet. I ask you, is it okay if instead of going and renting a tuxedo, which would have cost me like $60,
Yeah.
could I go and just wear a suit with a bow tie?
Yes.
And you said yes. And so...
Well, my real stipulation was, in order to make up for the tux portion of it, it wasn't the bow tie, it was the dress shoes, because I knew that would be the most uncomfortable part for you. Like, you wear suits every week.
Right.
On air, and you wear a bow tie once a year on air, so it's like, oh, okay, but you never wear, I don't think I've ever, that's a lie, I've seen you in dress shoes like once before.
Yes, that's, yeah, you've seen me,
at a nice restaurant. That was like the
Right.
only time I think I've ever seen you in dress
Yeah, so
shoes.
that's the worst part. You
Yeah.
said you have to wear dress shoes. I'm like,
Yeah.
well, okay. I will also say, I'll take an opportunity, because this is, I'll move the microphone. That's bad. I'll move the microphone. So you can see that this is a zebra print tie.
Zebra, yes.
Zebra print tie. Do you know what makes this tie special?
I do.
Yes. I guess I might as well use this as an opportunity.
Yeah.
Zebra print is the official print of neuroendocrine cancer. So if you want to, we had a link up at one point. If you want to go to, what was the, oh my gosh. There was a foundation. Yeah, so if you want to go to netrf.org, that's Better Treatments for Neuroendocrine Tumors. Neuroendocrine cancer was the, you can make a donation to their, neuroendocrine cancer was the cancer that took our friend Aaron Hardigan's mother from us. And so it's a special place in my heart. I think I wore it 2 years ago, 2019?
Yeah.
On the air?
Because last year we did the big pink game.
Yeah, we raised some money for neuroendocrine cancer a couple years ago. So I busted this thing back up. Normally I only wear these things once.
Yep,
So
you
it's just
usually
been-
only wear it for Bally.
Just been sitting in my closet, so an opportunity to dust it off. And look, I think it's pretty obvious that I look good. Maybe I'll just wear this every day.
You won't.
You're right. You're right, because I just don't like wearing suits. And that's, that is one thing that's funny, and I'm glad that we have this show for, and we'll talk about more milestones in a moment. But one of the things that I'm thankful for the show for is there's a lot of people out there that the only time they see me is when I'm wearing a suit.
Right.
And I legitimately wear a suit.
For however many Fridays.
So let's
State championships.
State championships, and then like a couple of Player of the Week shows. And stuff
Yeah.
like that. So let's just say I wear a suit 30 times a year.
Yeah.
Okay? I'm glad that you guys get to see me in my natural habitat, which is a dumb T-shirt and jeans.
Yep, absolutely.
Like that's my natural habitat.
Well, and
So
it's-
this is a little weird crossover.
It's always funny when you wear something like the 1 to 2 times a year that you wear this to the Dave Campbell's office is always weird for me because I don't actually see you in your suit on Friday. I mean, I go, once I get done with my game, I watch the rest of Scoreboard Live, however much I can catch of it. So it's like I see you, but I never see you in person. And I remember the first time you walked in, and I was like, That don't like that. Weird.
Okay, let me
not
ask
natural.
You, and I will say I have grown more fond of dressing up. I still don't like it.
Yeah.
But like I've grown more fond of it. Let me ask you a question. Do you like dressing up? Be honest. Do you like you don't like okay, perfect example. When we went to Bob's dinner and you didn't wear that.
Right.
You know,
No, I was in a dress and heels and hair curled, and I mean,
do you enjoy doing that?
Here's what I'll say. I do, because I only do it, I mean, maybe 5 times out of the year, and that's like pushing it at that thing. You know what I enjoy about it, and this is gonna sound weird, but it's really true. Typically, when I'm getting dressed up like that, I'm going to an indoor event where I don't have to worry about anything messing up my hair or my makeup. And it's like when we do stuff on Football Friday, I try to, put in a lot more effort on my makeup and my hair and stuff. And then half the time it's like your hair will be looking really good, and then you're dealing with humidity or wind or whatever. So the times that I can get dressed up and continue to look like I put in effort throughout the night, I do get a kick out of that every now and then. But the going to do all your makeup and stuff to go either sweat it off or watch your hair frizz out, that gets old after a while.
No, I feel that because sometimes the studio gets hot.
Yeah, you catch the AC at the wrong portion, mess up your hair a little bit.
Anyway, well, let me do that. Let me give everybody a gift.
Yeah, here's a gift. Will Wilkerson, cut that.
Hit the theme, Expo. Let's go! Free money! Yes, y'all. From the Dave Campbell's Texas Football Mothership here in beautiful Lewisville, Texas. It's Texas Football Today, a show on a very special day. My name's Greg Tepper. I'm the managing editor of Dave Campbell's Texas Football Magazine, TexasFootball.com, a corresponding website. Thank you for spending part of your day with us. Whether you're watching us live on TexasFootball.com, Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch, or you listen to us. Oh, we're not on Facebook.
No.
We're still fighting with Zuck. We think we've made some headway. Right?
I think we've made some headway, but it's about to get to me fist fighting a man. So be prepared.
Nerd. He's a nerd.
Yeah.
So
Tepper's in a bow tie, and I'm over here beating the crap out of someone. Yeah. So normal Tuesday here.
Tuesday. Or you listen to us on the podcast, which you can subscribe to on the podcast vendor of your choice. Either way, thank you for doing your part to support your local mediocre internet show. I'm sitting over there at the helm today, making us sound good. She's the Duchess of the Dorks. She's Ashley Pickle.
In a comfortable hoodie and not a bow tie. That would have been funny if I had to wear a bow tie.
Yeah.
Like, we should have switched that. You should have had to show up in a ball gown.
No. That's first of all, where are we going to find a ball gown that big?
That's true.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, you and your massively broad shoulders over there.
I gotta get a little bit of the wide. I'm pretty broad. I'll say that.
Sure.
Today is Tuesday, October 19th, 2021. 37 days to Thanksgiving. Happy birthday to Texas Football Today.
Yeah.
Today
birthday season
is our 6th birthday.
Yeah.
We have been doing this internet show for 6 years.
That is the amount of nonsense that has accumulated.
6 years. It's episode 1264. So I did the math. That means we're averaging about 210 shows a year.
That's nuts.
That's a lot.
That is nuts.
That's a lot of shows.
You know how much just pure content that, like, imagine breaking that up into segments. Like,
if you were to, I want you to think about that. If you were to assume, and this is extremely conservative, if you were to assume that the average episode is only 30 minutes, which it's not.
No.
It's not. But let's just say it is. That's 632 hours. Okay? That's 632 hours of content. That's 26 days.
Oof.
Happy birthday.
I was going to say, and we threw in a 7-hour episode one point just for the fun of it.
October 19th, 2015, we went on the air. Our first ever guest was Ricklin Holmes at Tyler High School.
Our first guest on the 1000th show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I guess for our 2000th, we're just gonna keep calling Ricklin like every 5 years or
He's
so.
gonna, yeah, I was gonna say he'll be retired one
Oh,
day.
I guess that's true.
You know,
fine. You guys are still doing this thing.
Yeah.
All right, I figured I was doing you guys a favor because this thing would last 5 minutes. Anyway, on today's show, guys, we are going to have our college football recap. Then we're going to talk with the Hall of Famer Craig Way. We'll unveil the DTTF top 10 plays of the week and much more in between. But first, do we have first four through the door?
We sure do, and some fun names since we're here on YouTube. Robert Lago, I believe is how you would
Nailed
say
it.
Aaron Arbuckle, Jacob Sherman, and Coach Terry Crawford.
Man, Terry Crawford.
Welcome in, fellas.
Just like his Panthers. 7-0 now. Go
Yeehaw.
Panthers. Go Panthers. Although I will just point out, and I think you and I both know this to be true.
Mm-hmm.
You and I, severe lack of Abbott gear.
I can say that I don't have any Panthers gear. Huh. Interesting.
Anyway. All right. Let's kick things off with... What are we kicking things off with?
Our impactful leader.
That's right. We're kicking things off with our impactful leader. First National Bank of Omaha, the Dave Campbell's Texas Football Impactful Leadership Award, presented by First National Bank of Omaha, recognizes 10 influential Texas high school football athletes who are leaders both on and off the field. Today, we are honoring, out of Melissa High School, Carter Mortensen. Out of Melissa High School, our Dave Campbell's Texas Football Impactful Leadership Award, presented by our friends at First National Bank of Omaha. To read more about what makes Carter a great leader, visit texasfootball.com. Thanks again to our friends at First National Bank of Omaha, and congratulations to Melissa's Carter Mortensen, our Dave Campbell's Texas Football Impactful Leadership Award, presented by FNBO. I don't know if they wanted me to say FNBO, so First National Bank of Omaha. I don't know if that's like like an official thing that they want people saying, but anyway, love you, First National Bank of Omaha.
They might be like, yeah, that's what the cool kids call us, you know.
All right, Pickle. It's time for our college football recap. Back on Thursday, way back in the Wayback Machine, me and Ishmael Johnson answered some burning questions about the college football weekend. Let's see how we ended up doing. What do we got going on?
An oof for the first one. Do you buy that the Mean Green offense has figured itself out? Wet fart.
That's a no. That's a big no. I'm gonna go with a no. Actually, you know what?
You're going out on a limb there, man.
Final answer is no. I'm gonna go with no. That was a putrid performance.
It was embarrassing.
A putrid performance. I don't think there's really any two ways about it. And look, I think it's just fair to say that they're just going to play off the string. I mean, this is a lost season. Mm-hmm. Maybe Seth Luttrell can rally the troops to get a couple wins down the stretch, but the offense was dreadful. Most especially, they were dreadful throwing the ball. Mm-hmm. They were really bad. They were really, really bad. Now, part of it is they had to, but Austin Aune goes 16 of 30 for 121 yards, no touchdowns, an interception. He took 2 sacks. And it's the same problems, which is the offensive line can't protect, and inaccuracy is just a huge problem. They were dreadful offensively in this game. And, there's no reason to think that they figured itself out. It's over for North Texas. It's over, and I think it's over for Seth Luttrell.
I agree.
What's next, Pickle?
Up next, another oof here. Why is Texas a touchdown favorite over an unbeaten OSU team? And another second half that they just stopped playing.
Well, you know what's funny? I think we saw why they were a touchdown favorite. Mm-hmm. We saw why they were a touchdown favorite, and then we very quickly saw why they were wrong.
Yep.
Which is Texas, for long stretches of this game, looked like they were going to run away with this game. They were driving up 17-3. Mm-hmm. They were up 17-3 in the second quarter, right before halftime, driving deep in Oklahoma State territory, and you're thinking, all right, worst case scenario, they're coming out here 20-3. 17 points.
Yep.
And then pick six was the biggest play of the game, in my opinion. Turned the whole tide. They go 3 and out. Oklahoma State goes down, gets a field goal. They go into halftime. Instead of 20-3, they go in 17-13.
Yep.
And you're just like, here we go again.
Yep. It was literally instant flashbacks.
So the funny thing is, I can see why Texas was a favorite.
Yeah, OSU is not hot take. They're not very good.
I think they're fine.
They're fine. There's nothing special.
But they're not. Yeah, exactly right. Like, they're undefeated, but they're not undefeated in the same way that Georgia's undefeated.
Right. I don't think Spencer Rattler really
You mean Spencer Sanders?
Spencer Sanders has really anything. I mean, yeah, obviously Spencer's not doing too hot.
He was fine. He was fine. He was fine. That was what he was. I don't think he was especially good in this game, but in the end, he made the plays when they needed to, and the defense stepped up in a big way, and Texas kind of farted.
And
down,
you can't
They
do that
farted
at home.
and fell down the stretch, and that was what ended up happening. What's next, Pickle?
Up next, let's head over to Texas A&M. Is Zach Calzada's big game last week a flash in the pan or the new normal? And they got a 35-14 win over your Mizzou Tigers.
They did.
Shout out the suit.
And look, I'm not. I mean, there's nothing to make me think that it's not a flash in the pan. Because here's the thing, that's a bad Mizzou defense.
Yep.
And now they didn't. They got the running game going, obviously, and that ended up buoying them. But I am a little concerned now. I'll be honest. I'm a little bit concerned because I think that the passing game took a pretty sizable step backwards. He threw a bad interception. And look, he ended up going and running away. But he was passing the ball. He was a net negative in this game. As far as expected points allowed and expected points per play, he was a net negative passing the ball. And that's not going to cut it.
Nope.
It's not going to cut it down the stretch with much tougher opponents than Mizzou coming up. The running game ended up being absolutely sensational in this game, and it ended up not mattering how he threw the ball. But he was not good. Zach Calzada was not good in this game, and so I don't know. Like, it's one of those things that I think for A&M fans, you take the win and you run, and you don't apologize for it.
Right.
But like, I think that you still have some concerns about Zach Calzada from week to week.
Yeah, they're going to play much tougher teams.
Oh yeah, much tougher defenses.
Yeah,
most
Mizzou.
certainly. What's next, Pickle?
Up next, make a play on the over/under of 48 for Texas State, 31-28 against Troy.
So it ended up being the over.
Yeah, which y'all both took the under.
We both took the under.
So wrong.
And this game ended up being. What's funny is that this game ended up being. I want to say at halftime it was pretty high scoring. Like, I knew we were toast at halftime. Because of the way that like they came out. I want to say this game was like 21-17 at halftime or something like that. So yeah, I knew we were toast at halftime. Look, it's same song, different verse for Texas State. Like, this was, give a little bit of credit to the offense. They were able to figure a little bit of things out, but barely. They could not run the ball for the life of them.
No, it was bad.
Horrifying. They were, and as a result, they were asking Brady McBride to go out there and do everything, and he was okay, but not good enough. And in the end, a lot of the little things ended up dooming them. They were -4 the turnover margin. That seems bad. Seems bad. But in the end, look, they kept it close. Maybe that's a sign of life. They were in this game into the third or fourth quarter. But I don't know. I think it's a lost season for Texas State too. Just disappointing. What's next, Pickle?
Up next, on a positive note here, what happened to Baylor's offense last week, and is it sustainable? And they take down a ranked BYU program at the time, 38-24, in a really good showing.
Yeah, and here's the thing. We mentioned the thing that happened last week was that the offensive line got on track and started playing really well. Well, they were excellent against BYU. Excellent again. And that offensive line's starting to figure it out. They're giving Gary Bohannon time to throw. Abram Smith had a huge game. Treston Ebner had a couple of big runs as well.
It looked like a complete team out there. It was really impressive.
It looked very complete. It starts with that offensive line, and that's where it's got to start for them. If their offensive line plays well, then they're going to be pretty good. They played really well against BYU. They come away with a win. So, yeah, I think it may be sustainable. Now, I thought BYU was a little overcooked at 19.
Yeah.
And they're tougher. I think that this is pretty clearly their best win of the year, in my opinion, even better than Iowa State. But, tougher tests ahead. They get a bye week, and then they get Texas. They still got Oklahoma on the schedule. Yeah, I think for if you're Baylor, you're feeling pretty good about the way your offense is trending right now. So good doings there for Baylor.
Up next, we are going to go to Texas Tech. Matt Wells is on the hot seat. There's no question about that. But is there anything he can do Saturday to change that? And I think both of you said not really, unless he got blown out. But with a 41-14 win over Kansas, they did what they needed to.
Yeah, and you know what? I will just say, pretty good. That's what you should do on the road against a team that you overmatched. Is that game was over in the second quarter, basically. They came out. The offense looked really good. They rang up 452 total yards. They were especially good that really a good balance to what they were able to do. They were able to throw the ball with Henry Columbia a little bit. They didn't ask him to throw a ton, but really the running game took center stage. The running game was excellent in this game. Even being -1 the turnover margin, they were able to come up with a big win and dominate a team that they should dominate.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you're looking for signs of life for Tech, I mean, it's so strange to mention this, but like it is worth bringing up, guys. Texas Tech, and maybe you guys haven't noticed this. Texas Tech is 5-2. I'm sorry, they're 5-2. And we're talking about Matt Wells being buried and stuff like that. They are 5-2.
Yeah.
And it's like maybe they figure it out. I mean, the rest of their schedule.
I think it's just the way that they've lost when they've lost has just
for sure.
Embarrassing.
Look, the two losses stink, and one of the wins stinks in Stephen F. Austin,
Mm-hmm.
right? But like they're going to play Kansas State this week. That is at home.
That's a
very
real
winnable,
telling game.
very
right
winnable
there.
game. Very winnable game. I don't know. Like there's tougher tests ahead.
Yeah, they've got Oklahoma after
but
that.
as far as a bowl game is concerned, they could be bowling after this year, and we could still be talking about Matt Wells on the hot seat. It's a strange situation. What's next, Pickle?
Up next, how about those nationally ranked Roadrunners after they absolutely put a beating on Rice, 45-0? But is there suddenly a reason for concern of UTSA's defense?
What a dum-dum I am.
The answer to that was
no.
no.
It wasn't going to be against Rice. It was going to rear its ugly head against Rice.
No.
And the defense absolutely smothered Rice.
Yeah,
Rice couldn't do anything. Rice's passing attack. Do you know how many yards they threw for?
I do not.
36. They went 8 for 16 for 36 yards. They did throw. The strange thing is they did throw 2 touchdowns. Or I'm sorry, that's not true. They threw 2 interceptions.
I was like, they did not throw a touchdown.
No, they didn't throw 2 touchdowns.
It was a shutout.
It was a absolutely dominant performance defensively. Look, Rice's offense is bad. They still haven't figured it out, but give a lot of credit to UTSA. That's what happens when a good team plays a bad team, and give a lot of credit to UTSA's defense, who I think answered the call after a couple of weeks of kind of shaky performances. They were playing with their hair on fire. Now they are nationally ranked. What's next, Pickle?
Up next was our small school game of the week. Are you buying that UT Permian Basin as a legit Lone Star Conference contender?
Unfortunately for UT Permian Basin, this didn't go the way that they were planning.
34-14.
34-14. And Angelo really jumped all over them, 20-7 at halftime, and then pulled away in that third quarter and really never looked back. You could even say that 34-14 is generous.
Yeah.
A really impressive performance from Angelo. I think this is a comeback to earth kind of moment for Justin Kerrigan and Permian Basin. They kind of got to retrench from here and see if they can figure things out. I would say it's disappointing for UT Permian Basin, but for Angelo, you feel good about that win, and maybe you can be that kind of spoiler there in the Lone Star Conference, which is suddenly still wide open. What's next, Pickle?
Up next, the question for TCU was over-under on 175 yards of rushing against Oklahoma. That game ended 52-31 in favor of the Sooners.
Yes, it did, and TCU ran for a grand total of, I'm pulling it up, we said 175. Boy, that was a good line. They ran for 183.
I think you took the under.
I think I took the under, too. But talk about setting a good line.
But you're pumped about your line.
I'm pumped that.
How did you do it again?
I basically looked at like both averages and
then just split
it. Split the difference. Look, so Zach Evans didn't play in this game.
Yeah.
That's obviously hurt them. Kendry Miller did have a couple nice plays, but they were functionally without their best player, they were able to run the ball a little bit, which is promising, but the defense continues to just be an absolute train wreck. And they got torched by Caleb Williams.
Mm-hmm.
Torched in every conceivable way. Kennedy Brooks ran for 153 as well. I mean, the defense, it's strange. It's just we live in bizarro world where TCU's offense is like pretty darn good, and their defense is a train wreck. It's really disappointing. All right, do we have one last one?
We sure do, and that was. I'm sorry. Do you hear bowling pins in the distance here? Is Jacob Cowing the most underrated receiver in the nation? And how about the Miners, 19-3 over La Tech, and they're 6-1.
I sat here on this very program.
You did. We could pull the tape.
You could pull the tape, and I told you they're winning this game.
Mm-hmm.
And sure enough, They did.
Handily.
And by the way, even with the question, we kind of nailed it.
Yep.
Jacob Cowing, he didn't have a touchdown. 9 catches, 166 yards receiving. Okay? Let me pull up the national rankings as far as receiving is concerned. I mean, this guy is going to have a legitimate claim to being like on some All-American teams.
Yeah.
He's been great. He's 9th in the nation in receiving yards per game. 9th. Jacob Cowing at Ding Dong UTEP. Bowl eligible.
Did you see their video of the bowling and the
great.
players fell down? Amazing.
That was great.
So good.
Super fired up for them. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
The Sun Bowl was rocking too. I don't know
man.
if you saw any videos of them kind of like all the fans in the little corridor portion right there by the mine shaft, but it was amazing.
It was awesome, and you feel great for Jacob Cowing and UTEP and what they've been able to do. You know, I asked some people. I didn't really get a response from anybody on Twitter, but I was asking some Arizona high school football people if Jacob Cowing was a big. He's from Maricopa High School in Arizona.
If he was a big deal in high school,
if he was a big deal, because like he's a big deal now, and I don't know. It's talk about a diamond in the rough that they found, and they are cooking with grease right now, cooking with Crisco, and the UTEP Miners are bowl eligible. So there it is, your college football recap. We are Texas Football Today. We're here every weekday at noon on TexasFootball.com, talking football in the Lone Star State. You can follow us on Twitter at DCTF. You can like us on Facebook, Facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, Instagram.com/Dave Campbell's. And, of course, see us at TexasFootball.com. Pickle. Dairy Max and Dave Campbell's Texas Football are proud to present, are proud to team up this year to honor excellence in coaching and the hard work that assistant coaches put in on behalf of their teams. Each week, the Texas football staff nominates 4 deserving assistant coaches for the Dairy Max Built by Chocolate Milk Assistant Coach of the Week, and let the fans decide on the winner via Twitter poll. It all leads up to the Dairy Max Built by Chocolate Milk Assistant Coach of the Year, decided at season's end. Your Week 8 Dairy Max Built by Chocolate Milk Assistant Coach of the Week nominees. McCamey Special Teams Coordinator Jonathan Duran. The Badgers returned a blocked punt for a touchdown, returned a kickoff for a touchdown, blocked a PAT, and successfully converted a 4th down on a fake punt in their 42-32 win over Wink. Love to include the special teams guys. DeSoto defensive coordinator Tony Holmes. The Eagles stymied arch rival Cedar Hill in the annual Battle of Beltline, holding the Longhorns to just 70 yards and forcing a trio of turnovers in a dominating 45-0 victory. Amarillo Palo Duro defensive coordinator Danny Snyder. The dangerous Dons defense dominated district foe Lubbock, shutting out the Westerners for a 24-0 victory. And finally, center offensive coordinator Brock Grigsby. The Rough Riders exploded for 532 yards total offense and nabbed their first victory of the year, taking down Shepherd in a wild 60-44 shootout. So those are your Dairy Max Built by Chocolate Milk Assistant Coach of the Week nominees. Vote now on Twitter at DCTF. Pickle, let's go to the hotline, and let's bring in the Hall of Fame voice of Texas high school football, the Hall of Fame voice of the Texas Longhorns. You can hear him on the Horn in Austin every weekday, and you can see him co-host High School Scoreboard Live alongside Rick Renner and myself. He's the great Craig White. Craig, how are you, my friend?
Are you a chocolate milk drinker?
I enjoy myself a little bit of chocolate milk from time to time.
I bet Hank would be on board with that. He probably.
So I don't know if Hank's ever. Ooh, that's a good question. I don't know if Hank's ever had chocolate milk.
What?
I don't know.
What kind of parenting is that?
All right.
Oh.
All right. There's 3 people in this there's 3 people in this conversation. 2 of us have kids, and the one is giving us parenting advice.
Yes.
That's interesting.
I just walked into a room and dropped a little stink bomb and walked right out. Didn't I?
You stepped on
Milk
the
is the
hornet's nest and
goat.
ran. My goodness. It's Craig Way, the Texas High School Football Hall of Famer, joining us here on Texas Football Today. All right, Craig. It seems to me that this time of year, and maybe it's just because we're getting into district play, or maybe it's just because this is the way that contenders look, it seems to me that this time of year we always start talking about defenses. We always start talking about absolutely dominant defenses as kind of separating the contenders from the so-called pretenders. And I am interested in why you think that is, even though it kind of goes against what we think, which is offenses take a little bit more time, a little bit more seasoning to get going, and yet the defenses are the ones that are winning these critical district games. I look at Windthorst and Munster as a perfect example, or Lubbock Cooper's win over Wichita Falls Rider. Do you have a theory on why that is, or is it just a matter of great teams have great defenses, that's the end of it?
Well, you can start from that baseline, And then I think there's a couple other things at heart. And talking with some high school coaches this week and in some prior weeks, the vibe I get is part of the reason that the defenses have been so good is because there's been, I don't know if it's an elevated, it's probably a regular amount of injuries to key offensive players. And when that happens, you're going to see defensive players and defensive units step up. Now, there are notable exceptions. I mean, obviously, in the case of Westlake, Kate Klubnik goes out with an injury, and there's no trouble. They just pick up right where they left off and go on from there. But there are teams who are heavily reliant on, say, a running back or a quarterback or a key receiver, and if that guy gets injured, it slows down the offense, and then the other team ramps up its defense. That's unless you have a rash of injuries on the defensive side of the football. But I think we do see a little bit of it more in weeks 7, 8, 9, and 10. Sometimes coaches, for precautionary reasons, are going to hold a player or two out for an extra week or so until they get to the playoffs when they really need them. So, and then, as you know, Tep, sometimes we see electric craziness happen with offensive point productions in by-district and area games. Some of that also is controlled environment. Get inside a dome. And, because coaches are trying to get away from the weather. And once the weather turns. And so they get in there and all of a sudden the points start lighting up the scoreboard. So I think it's kind of a trickle down, but it is all connected with why defenses might be playing better now. And then come the postseason, offenses kind of resume their position of putting up lots of points.
So the other thing about this time of year, because we are we're into week 9, and we are, believe it or not, at the exact midway point of the season. We are as close to week 1 as we are to the state championships at AT&T Stadium. But one of the things that I think is really remarkable about this time of year is that we maybe take our eye off of the normal games that we would be paying attention to and start focusing a little bit more on the edges and start focusing. Let's put it this way. Everyone's looking forward to Lake Travis and Westlake. I think that's in week 11. Everyone's excited about getting the Battle of the Lakes, et cetera, et cetera. And yet, I would look at a game this week like Del Valle and San Marcos and say, this is the time of year when we start paying as much attention to games like that, which are going to determine like 4th place in a district, as opposed to that. And it seems like this is, maybe it's just the changing of the seasons or whatever it is. But it seems like this is the time of year where maybe we take our eye off of those number 1 seeds who maybe have everything locked down and maybe are just kind of playing out the string till the playoffs, and focus more on, okay, who's going to get in, who's going to be left at home, who's going to be blowing up basketballs on November 10th or whatever.
You know how you like to say that you and I are whatever sick and nerdy and weird about such things.
It's true.
And all of it's true, by the way. To extend your example further, Lake Travis is playing Bowie this week. It's a pretty good matchup. Mm-hmm. Really is. Pretty good matchup there. But I will tell you that probably there will be more interest focused on the aforementioned San Marcos Del Valle game, because that is a realistic elimination game for the 4th playoff spots. The winner is not necessarily in, but and isn't in at the moment, but the loser almost certainly is out. It's kind of like what they say in pro golf. You can't lose a tournament. You can't win a tournament on the first day, but you can lose it. Mm-hmm. So if whoever loses that game is probably out of the mix, the winner is definitely still in the mix, and the shakeup could further on down the road. Say if Del Valle were to defeat San Marcos has that late season game coming up against Aikens. Aikens is still a factor in it, but Del Valle already owns a win over Aikens. If Del Valle gets in the playoffs, that pushes Bowie to the Division II rank, and the further trickle down means a bi-district matchup between Bowie and Vandegrift. Whereas if, say, San Marcos or Aikens gets in, then Bowie stays in Division I, and it's a different bi-district opponent even for Vandegrift. So there's a trickle down on that. The other thing it leads to, Tep, is what you and I like to go into the crazy in this case, numerical week 11 that we're talking about, the end of the regular season with all the point differentials and the tiebreaker. I had a dream the other night about points plus tiebreakers. That's how sick I am at this point. I was already dreaming about ceilings of plus 17 and stuff like that. I'm sitting there in a room with people trying to explain points plus tiebreakers. We're getting closer to that time of year, no doubt.
What's sad is that I've had that same dream. It's Craig Way, the Texas High School Football Hall of Famer, joining us here on Texas Football Today. Get involved in the conversation, #Tee Up Today. All right, I'm going to fast forward to a normal topic of conversation that we have on this program, which is I'm gonna offer you 3 games, give you an opportunity to teleport to any of them, to be involved in them, or to get an eye on them. You can teleport to Lucas, Texas, for Frisco and Lucas Lovejoy. You can teleport to, let's say, I guess it's at Freedom Field. I think that's where this game is being played. Freedom Field for Fort Bend Hightower and Katy Paetow. Or you can go to Central Texas and watch China Spring and Salado. Which of those 3 would you teleport to?
You know what? If you had added the 4th one and said North Shore and C.E. King, I would have said, how dare you throw all of that at me? It's tough enough with the other 3 as it is. Those are great matchups. Probably pushed into a corner, I'd probably go for Hightower and Paetow because, we've been talking about teams that have a chance to do great damage in the postseason. And just as we just got through commiserating about teams that wind up in the 3rd and 4th spot, when we get a legitimate district championship matchup on our hands for a team, either of the who wins that game, that has an opportunity to go deep in the playoffs, that's where I'm going to lean a lot of times. I love seeing the battles for the 3rd and 4th, but if you've got teams that are unbeaten in district play, and in some cases even unbeaten overall, and they're about to go at it, we could see that next week with Dripping Springs and Buda Johnson. They could both be a perfect 8-0 going into it. There's already a lot of talk about that down here in Austin about the possibility of that game next week. So anytime you have one of those matchups, you love to go ahead and pick that if you can, and that's why I would probably lean toward Paetow against Hightower.
All right, and now you are, of course, the play-by-play voice of the Texas Longhorns. The Texas Longhorns do not have a game this week. They are on their open date. What does an open date look like for the voice of the Texas Longhorns?
Well, a lot of times it's pretty sedate, Tep. There's a lot of times I'm not doing too much, but just to kind of give you an idea what the rest of the week is like. I had originally decided I was going to take off Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday of this week because I wanted to visit my mom who's in assisted living. I wanted to do that. But then one thing gets added and another thing gets added and another thing. And so this is how it breaks down. When we get done, I'm going to start driving north to the Metroplex. Linda and I have tickets for James Taylor and Jackson Brown tonight in Fort Worth. So we're going to be at Dickies Arena for that. Tomorrow, as you and Pickle both have done, I'm guest speaking at the sports broadcasting class at North Texas.
Cool.
That had been scheduled for some time. So there's that. I'm actually driving back down here Thursday because we do a special basketball preview show for Longhorn basketball with Chris Beard on Thursday. I'll be back up there to be with you on Friday. And then Saturday's up in the air. Lynn and I are considering one of 2 options. Either Dodgers-Braves Game 6 in Atlanta, if the Dodgers don't completely fold over and get beat out, or New Orleans to see the Doobie Brothers with Michael McDonald. Still fleshing that one out. But, yeah, so that's kind of what the rest of the week may look like.
What a rough life you lead. And if your choices are Game 6 of the NLCS or the Doobie Brothers and Michael McDonald in New Orleans. Okay, and finally, I guess we can probably break a little bit of news here. Actually, I'm going to toss this over to our Texan Live Grand Poobah over there in Ashley Pickle. Pickle, do you have something you want to tell us?
We do. We are extremely excited to announce that both of these gentlemen, Craig Way on play-by-play and Mr. Bowtie over there, Greg Tepper, will be calling a game in Week 11. It'll be Georgetown versus Pflugerville Weiss on Thursday night, 7 o'clock, I believe, on Texan Live. So both of you making your Texan Live debut.
Wow. Craig, we're finally going to do it. We're gonna call. And Georgetown and Weiss could be a colossal and deeply important game there in Week 11.
Absolutely. It could mean whether Georgetown gets in. It could mean whether they might have a shot at least sharing a district title. It could mean whether Weiss could win a district title outright. They got a big game with Manor this week on the road. So there's some things hanging out there. So thanks to Pickle for setting that up. Now, forewarned is forearmed. So let's just warn everyone, there's not enough airspace to keep the two of us from shutting up during the course of the game. So we'll do our best to do what we can, but I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be an exciting time. And just to be able to say, the amount of expectoration that's going to go on those windscreens on the microphones to say the field at Pflugerville is just thrilling to think about. So I'm excited about it. It's a great facility, and Todd Raymond and his staff do a fabulous job with the Pflugerville ISD. So they'll welcome us with open arms, and I'm looking forward to it.
We're looking forward to Craig Way making his Texan Live debut November 4th. Make sure you are there for that. Craig Way is a Texas High School Football Hall of Famer. You can listen to him on the Horn in Austin, but don't do it anymore. I think he's done for the week. He's gallivanting around Texas. But you can catch him Friday night on Bally Sports Southwest, co-hosting High School Scoreboard Live. Craig, appreciate your time, my friend, and I will see you on Friday.
I'll bring the chocolate milk to the Pflugerville, the field of Pflugerville when we do this.
Thank you, Craig.
Appreciate you, Craig.
All right.
There he goes. Craig White, the Texas High School Football Hall of Famer, joins us every Tuesday here on Texas Football Today. And how about that, guys?
So exciting.
We have been able to secure a date for Craig Way. We worked with his people and tried to make this happen. I don't know about you. I thought the negotiations went well. Mm-hmm. That we're paying a little bit more than we wanted to, but that's what you get for a legend.
Right.
Yeah.
A Hall of Famer comes with a price tag, of course.
Exactly right. But no, we're excited. It's going to be Craig and I calling Pflugerville Weiss and Georgetown live on Texan Live.
And like he said, shout out to Pflugerville Athletic Director Todd Raymond for letting us jabronis march in there and call a game.
Well, and I'll be entirely honest. Craig has been pretty gung-ho about calling a game on Texan Live. He's wanted to. He mentioned that to me a few weeks ago. He's like, man, I'd love to call a game on Texan Live.
He's like, do you think y'all have room for me? And I was like, you want the red carpet?
Yeah, and so we're excited to have Craig. Because here's the thing. Craig only calls how many? He calls Texas Football Days, and then he calls
the state championship.
The state championship.
He
only calls about now. Let's say he calls 6 or 7 in the state championship games. Let's say 6 or 7.
He does 7. I think he does some random games throughout the year every now and then, but not on a consistent basis.
Yeah, and so it's a treat to have the voice of Texas high school football.
So excited.
It's going to be calling a game on Texan Live. We're excited about that. We hope you'll tune in there on November 4th. It's Week 11. Pflugerville, Weiss, and Georgetown. We're Texas Football Today. We're here every weekday at noon on TexasFootball.com, talking football in the Lone Star State. You can follow us on Twitter at DCTF, like us on Facebook, Facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, Instagram.com/Dave Campbell's, and, of course, see us at TexasFootball.com. Pickle, Dave Campbell's Texas Football, and from now on are proud to team up this year to honor one head football coach in each classification with the Coach of the Week award. Each coach selected for the special honor typifies the best in Texas high school football. Your Week 8, from now on, Coaches of the Week. In 6A, Cedric Hardeman from Conroe. Coach Hardeman has the Tigers right in the thick of the District 13 6A playoff race as they improve to 4-3 and 2-0 in district play with a 41-35 win over Conroe Grand Oaks, looking for their first playoff appearance since 2012. In 5A, Eric Izar from Brian Rudder. Coach Izar and the Rangers are all but in the playoffs for the first time in school history with a huge 17-12 win over Fulshire to improve to 3-1 in District 10 5A Division II play. In 4A, Stephen Greek from Ferris. First-year Coach Greek has the Jackets buzzing in Ellis County after improving to 4-3 on the year, and most importantly, 1-0 in District 5 4A Division II with a key 21-13 win over Godley. In 3A, Casey Pierce from Breckenridge. Pierce has returned to his alma mater, and in his second season at the helm, he has the Buckaroos on the right path. After several nail-biting losses in non-district play, Breckenridge is 2-0 in District 3 3A Division I play with a 37-20 win over Early. On 2A, in 2A, David Sign from Johnson City. Coach Sign has Johnson City flying high in 2021, off to a sizzling 6-1 start after a dominating 58-0 win over Bracketville. In 1A, DJ Howell from Miami. First-year Coach Howell nabbed his first win, the biggest win of his young tenure, knocking off previously unbeaten district rival Headley in a 53-47 nail-biter. And the private school rakes Bobby Lindquist from Tomball Concordia Lutheran. Coach Lindquist Crusaders bowed their necks in overtime against district rival Katy St. John the 23rd, getting a defensive stop and a game-winning touchdown from Andrew Shrewsbury in the second extra frame to bring home a 34-28 win. So those are your Week 8 from now on Coaches of the Week. Let me make sure I get this right. Congratulations to all the coaches, and thank you for all you do for your players, schools, and communities. For more information on how your school can get a one-stop shop experience that transforms how it connects with fans and communities, visit from-now-on.com. One last thing to do today, Pickle, and that is to roll out the Dave Campbell's Texas Football Top 10 Plays of the Week.
Got a good batch this week.
We ask you guys to send us your plays. Use the hashtag DCTF Top 10. And we will collate them. Pickle will then go through them and figure out which one she likes and which one she doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
This is all about her. This is a
true.
vanity project for her.
Absolutely.
Here is the Week 8 Dave Campbell's Texas Football Top 10 Plays of the Week.
Nearly a block punt. Got a hair of his chin, able to punt off, but Robertson picks up the punt, and he has a lot of room to run. He looks like he's going to walk right into the end zone.
Smith fakes it. Now he's going to head upfield. He's got a lot of green if he can get to the edge, and he's going to get the first down. Pulls away from a tackler, and here's the foot race. He's at the 50, the 40, the 30, 20, 15, 10, 5. Touchdown, Knights.
Trahan takes the give, shifts his way through the hole. Now he turns on the afterburners. Kobe Trahan has the 20, the 10. Baya! Good night. Touchdown, Indians.
Bayers in his own end zone, swings it right side. Really nice throw, ball's caught. Kendall Stewart up the field, still on his feet. Foot race, midfield. 40, 30, still on his feet, and he is gone.
First and 10. Owens, quick pass outside, caught and breaking a tackle and getting up the sideline, Landon Arrington. One man to beat and he's going to score. Touchdown, Cy-Fair, 52 yards.
In Science Academy. Willett, with time, fires down the field. Pass caught by Marsh. Marsh got it at the 34-yard line.
Cobbin in the pistol. Looking back, looks downfield. Has a man, it's tipped. And are they going to say touchdown, Mustangs?
Touchdown dog is the final play there, number one play.
You can hear the PA guy in the background go, touchdown for the dog.
Love it.
And it was the best part.
Anyway, there's our DCTF Top 10 Plays of the Week. Remember, if you see a play that is worthy of being a Top 10 Play of the Week, make sure you go to or send it to us with hashtag DCTF Top 10. Let's go over to Ashley Pickle for America's second favorite segment. Final thoughts?
The big chatter today in the comments on YouTube was the November 6th UTEP versus UTSA is starting, like, the hype train is officially rolling.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be...
It's going to be a big game.
It's going to be a big one.
Who would have thought?
Yeah, I was actually, like, go back to 2019 and tell me that...
No. Even worse. Go 3 months ago.
Yeah.
Go back to June.
That's true.
Right? Go back to August 1st.
Pull the clip of us talking about...
And us being like, boy, it would be great if UTEP could win a game.
Yeah.
Right? And now they're bowl eligible. UTSA's undefeated.
Mm-hmm.
Fun times in El Paso and in San Antonio. It's fun times.
Other than that, I guess never mind. No, I'm just out on Friday. Y'all are doing a show this Friday, not next Friday. Okay, yeah. Never mind.
Anything
okay,
else?
no programming notes.
It's going to do it for us. Thanks for spending a little bit of your day with us, and thanks for spending the last 6 years with us. This is the last show, so we're done. Follow us on Twitter at DCTF. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, instagram.com/Dave Campbell's. And, of course, see us at TexasFootball.com. Thanks again to the Hall of Famer Craig Way for being our guest. For former producer Max Thompson and for current producer Ashley Pickle, I'm Greg Tepper. Vince Young, please get your Player of the Year trophy. We'll see if we see you tomorrow. Will we go 6 years plus 1 day? I don't know. Find out tomorrow on Texas Football Today.